Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I promise to be very civilized and professional today, but I've just got one thing to say to all the ladies. Ha ha! Ha ha! Feels really good to be this close. Anyway, it was wonderful to stand at the back when the clip of Cheya Cheya was on. And it was wonderful to see everybody cheering like that. And to all the people here who are not familiar with Shah Rukh's work and the film, that was a fantastic introduction to what a special guest we have here at BAFTA tonight. And what I wanted to do was really talk a little bit about how, Shah Rukh and his fantastic body of work, how it's... Behave. Okay. I did. Honestly, क्या करेंगे हम?
Lights off कर देते.
How his fantastic films that we have seen over the years here in Britain, what they mean to us as British Asians. I think for me that's really a very important thing that I wanted to talk to Shah Rukh about today. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on Hindi cinema, but I know what I like. And I have to say that, I grew up in Southall, as many of you know. I saw Hindi films at the Dominion Cinema when my cousins used to take me. And at that time, I was very interested in the samosas and the Coca-Cola during the interval, often more than the movie. But then it came in, and I saw so much fantastic cinema at that time that I feel has still stayed with me. And I remember distinctly that it was only when I watched Hindi cinema at that age that I used to cry. I never cried in English films, although I used to watch them a lot on TV. And I used to go to Saturday morning pictures, but it was when I watched Hindi films that I used to cry buckets. I just needed to see Durga Kote or one of the older women coming on, and the music would start that, and she'd start crying, and then I would be in bucket, even though I wasn't quite understanding what she was saying. So there's something very wonderful about Hindi films for us. It's something very tangible and emotionally pulls on our heartstrings. And of course, after the cinemas in Birmingham, in East London, in Southall, we lost the cinemas to videos, if you remember, and then cinema came back in a big way. Hindi cinema came back in a big way, has kept many of the Cineworld multiplexes alive, as we know. And for me, I would credit two films for doing that. A very early one, I think, is Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. But the real film, I think, I would credit for that is Dilwale Dulhania. And I wanted to ask Shah, when you were making that film, did you ever have any conception of how that film was going to be seen by people like us over here?
No, I don't think, I really didn't think it would be so sexually arousing to you. It was meant to be a... no, it was meant to be a family film.
I was still single then.
Okay, let's not talk about your feelings now that you're married.
Yes.
But no, one didn't really understand. It was a film being made by youngsters. There was Aditya Chopra, now a big-time producer, and Karan Johar, who was he was the AD on the film, but all he did was to stitch buttons on our clothes. He's here somewhere tonight.
Karan is here, in fact, actually.
And,
where are you, Karan? Standing at the back there.
I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to thank everyone. I would answer this question also. But just thank you very much. I want to thank Mr. Duncan Kenworthy from BAFTA, who's invited us here, Claire Wise, who's made this possible, family, Greg and Emma Thompson, who are here. Thank you. And I was a little odd coming to BAFTA. I had to ask, how do you pronounce it, BAFTA or BAFTA? And I'm bad with stuff like this. I have only one black suit, and I get a little nervous when I have to go and meet people who are intellectually superior than I am. But when I came down and I saw you, I know it's not BAFTA, it is BAFTA. So I'm and it's wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. And
as long as it's not Bafkoof.
It's
yeah.
But thank you, everyone. It's really kind, and it's very humbling and wonderful to feel that I'm here and talking about Indian films, and it's only because of all of you who've seen it, and some of you who've not seen it, please see it. The DVDs are...
But what do you think it is about the films like Dilwale Dulhania, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, these films that have really captured the hearts and minds of a second and even a third generation of not just British Asians, but Indians and Pakistanis living in America, living in Australia, living in Canada, what I would call the Asian diaspora. What do you think it is that has appealed to them?
I've heard over the years it's very simplistic reasons for films like this doing well. Somebody said that these films are made for the NRIs. Which is very strange, and I think a little belittling to NRIs and to the films. Like my friend Karan always says, this is not it's not an identity that films are being made for NRIs. It's just a status given to everyone, and films are made for everyone. They are supposed to explain, say, sing, dance, whatever, and show in their own way that we're telling you a story. And I think the timing was right somewhere. Video had just sort of killed movies. And there was time that people wanted to get back to cinema. I think the youngsters like Karan and Aditya Chopra and Mr. Suraj Barjatia, and people like you, I guess, you started talking Indian cinema in the language which the second generation understood. It was not necessarily boring you with a traditional way of telling a story. It was talking their language while showing the tradition. So the parents liked it. The children sort of said, oh, it's cool, it's all right. I mean, I like MTV and Casey Kasem, but this is cool. I'm okay with this film, and this guy's wearing Polo Ralph Lauren, so it's all right. I understand these jeans, Levi's, and so I think that helped. And personally, and I'm not very modest, as everyone knows, but I just happened to be in those films at the right time, at the right age, and it has just taken off, and I think one should not belittle the importance of the audience from England, America, NRIs, and I have a lot of German friends who are not NRIs. They don't look like NRIs. They're blonde, yeah, and they like Indian films, and they said a thing to me, which I think stands for all the audience who see the Indian films. And especially when you mentioned the tune and Durga Kote.
Yes.
I was in I think Frankfurt or Dusseldorf, and I asked a lady there, and I said, why do you like Indian movies? And she said, we have a button for everything. We want to go up on an escalator, we press a button. We want money, we go to the ATM, and we press a button. We want to drive, we press a button. We don't have a button to cry, and Indian films are giving us that button. And as mechanized, as German and mechanized as it may sound, but I think it has a quality of truth around it, that Indian films just let you cry. And I think, people say they make us happy. I think Indian films just help you cry. And that's a wonderful way to be here.
How hard is it for you to do the crying, those scenes? Because one of the things that I think is, sets apart actors working in Hindi cinema to actors working in the West, in the main, is that they have to cover such a gamut of styles. In one film, you have to go from comedy to dancing to lip syncing to melodrama, sometimes to just pure drama, to tears, all the emotions, you know, in one movie, and that's, you know, that's quite a skill.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, when I was to be part of theatre, the one thing we were taught was you never isolate emotions. So if you're only happy, you don't just be happy. There are other emotions running parallel to that happiness, and somehow as an actor you should capture that. I would say Indian films are like that, but a little more in your face, where, you know, you're like a cabaret artist or a variety show presenter, where you're supposed to sing and dance and make everyone have an entertaining time. And, you know, when I was younger and stupider, I used to, you know, look down upon Indian films. You know, there's no character, and, you know, but it is awfully difficult to really convince yourself to dance around trees and look sort of, you know,
You do it awfully well, Shah Rukh. Doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I mean, if you... I genuinely believe, I mean, that really is somewhere, and I'm not giving undue importance to the acting in India. I think there's some wonderful, wonderful actors all around the world. But it is like a workshop for an actor to be able to do this, and you suddenly cry, and then dance on top of a train, and then hit a few bad guys, and jump from a building, and you know, quickly go to your mom, whatever.
Well, interestingly, the first time I ever came across you was, I think, must have been very late 80s or early 90s. And a lot of people might not know this, but Shah Rukh was acting in a Dostoevsky adaptation in India, directed by Mani Kaul. And a friend of mine, Anup Singh, had adapted the screenplay. And our own Ayub Khan Din, the writer of East is East, he was in the film too. And when I was talking to Anup, and I was saying, you know, how's the film? What do you think? And he said the film's okay. And he said, but there's one person in it who I really believe is going to be a big star. And I said, really? You mean Ayub? And he said, no, this fellow Shah Rukh, you know. And I remember I saw it at the New York Film Festival, because it played actually with a short film that I had done at that time. And my film preceded it. And it was, and Shah Rukh kind of, I remember, had this scarf. He had this sort of scarf that you had for around your neck like this, and you kind of, it was a very art house movie, and you were kind of doing your own thing.
You can be honest about it, yeah.
No. No, but
Too long back.
But it was very distinctive, and it was interesting that I've seen that character then come in so many of your films, Bazigar, Fir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani, that kind of persona, which is a very you know, honest, lively, in-your-face character, but also quite vulnerable, I would say.
I mean, she's wanting to say I'm a ham.
No, not at all, not at all. But you,
it was. I mean, the film was called aptly "Idiot," Ahmaq in Urdu, and it was an experience. And I remember, you know, I was just fresh out of theatre, and I thought I knew everything there is to know about acting. And I'd read all the books, and I remember there was a line in the novel, in Dostoevsky's novel, which said, he walked like a crab. He walked into the room like a crab. And as strange as it may sound, and if you ever get to see this movie, throughout the film, I have walked like this. And I truly believed that is the greatest breakthrough in acting that I have. Yeah, I sincerely believe that, because, you know, it was, like she said, an art house film, which I didn't understand. Nobody understood that film, so it got passed off. But I really do believe that was my greatest contribution to world cinema. And see, I've never laid claims to being able to understand characterization after that. And now that I've told you this story, you won't also believe if somebody tells you I understand characterization. But the whole idea always has been, with my experience of now 16 years I've been working in cinema. And it seems it's just passed off so fast, but it's been a long time, about 50 films. And our films are long, so that makes it about 75 international length films. And my experience has always been that I read somewhere, there is a great actor, Mr. Michael Caine, and he always said that when I'm acting a scene, I'm not showing the audience what I can do and what I can achieve and what characterization I've done. What I try and do is show them a mirror and let them see themselves in what I'm doing. And I think that somehow rang very honest to me. And that is my excuse for playing the same character over and over again for the last 16 years. But I'm playing you guys, so please forgive me. I think that's how it was. I mean, I just try and do what, I don't know, just try and keep it pleasant and simple, even when I'm throwing women off the buildings.
In Bazigar, yeah. I think that, you know, obviously everyone knows now that, you know, how important an actor you are in India, and how you grace so many billboards and, you know, undisputed king of the box office, I would say. From your sideways crab walk to today, what do you think? What are the qualities you think that have led you to where you are today?
You know, I think I am again not being modest about the work. I think a lot of people have contributed to what I've done in the last 15 years, and most of it has to do with the directors and the producers and the writers, lots of them, and the songs that have been given to me. I think I'm one lucky actor. I work hard, and I think I have some amount of talent in the job that I do, but I think I've had a lot of exterior help in terms of you know, where I have reached as an actor in context of Indian films, and I've tried to keep it very simple, and I've tried to keep it very honest and very hard worked at. I mean, I really don't have any, you know, if it was BAFTA, I would have sat down and given you some intellectual spiel about how I've done this, but because it is BAFTA, I'd be honest and tell you, I mean, I really don't know. I'm just Lucky Ali, and I've just sort of, I'm okay. I mean, I've just kept it very honest and hard work at, that's all.
I think, you know, I read that you said something, and in fact it was in Muni Kabir's wonderful, wonderful documentary, and Muni's here today too. She directed this wonderful documentary on the inner and outer world of Shah Rukh Khan, which I really encourage everybody to watch, because it's not only is it a wonderful it's a wonderful exploration of who Shah Rukh is, but it's also a wonderful exploration on stardom and what being a star means, and what being a star costs you in your daily life. And one of the things that comes out in Muni's film is how precious the moments are for Shah Rukh with his family, and with people who knew him before he was so big. And in the documentary, there's one thing that you say, which I found really interesting, which is that for you, acting is very spiritual. It's a spiritual exercise. So when you go off to work, you know, you see, you know, whether it's action scenes, drama, singing, dancing, whatever, it's a spiritual exercise. What do you mean by that?
See, you know, in terms of the technicalities of acting, I think no actor would be able to explain how it happens. I do go quite blank at the time. I've learned the lines. The directors have come and told me how to do it. And the cameraman's explained to me, you have to stand here, then walk across there. And but there is a moment in time which I've been feeling lately. You know, I was a hyper actor. I do a lot, and I have no shame of saying that in acting, I have always believed there is no right or wrong way to do a shot. I mean, there is no right or wrong way, and if you like it, it's right. If you don't like it, it's still right. I mean, it just works. And but there are moments in sequences where I'm saying the lines, and I'm saying it to a girl. It could be a romantic line. It could be just telling someone to put their phones off. But, but it's but there's a point in time where I feel some connection with something which is beyond. I'm Islamic and very proudly Islamic, so I think it's a connection with Allah. But I don't know. I just feel that I'm not here, and there is a strange kind of floating experience that happens. It doesn't happen in all the scenes. It happens sometimes, And at that point, I don't know why I've done it. I've seen people cry after I've finished a scene, apart from the distributors after a flop. But this is, it's just people who've just cried. I know sincerely, I've had actors and actresses just hold my hand and just go away. And I have not felt a sense of triumph, victory over, that's okay.
Right, whose phone is that?
I've never really felt a sense of triumph that I've cracked the scene. You know, there's some scenes where I get, oh, I've done this scene well. And there is no sense at all of triumph. There's just a sense of nothing. And I think that is a little spiritual. And it happens on and off. And I feel I've given a part of me, apart from the physical part that I worked hard or got hurt or whatever. There is a part of me which is gone. And then I go and see that scene in the cinema hall. And I'm nudging, you see this? Just see this scene. And I say, yeah. And that moment passes and nobody even takes notice of it. And some really crappy bits that I've done. People start screaming, chal, chaiya, chaiya, chaiya.
So what is one of those moments where you really felt a spiritual force that was guiding you into how to
I don't know,
I'll
I'll tell you a nightmare for a director, Mr. Kundan Shah. There's one of my earlier films called Kabhi Haan, Kabhi Na, which means sometimes yes, sometimes no. And that in that film there was a scene where I see the girl I love the most being kissed by her boyfriend. She's going around with this guy. And my scene is that I'm completely shattered and I stand there with my trumpet. I play a trumpet in the film and I'm just looking at it and I'm supposed to start crying and it goes into a song. And a trolley used to come on my face. It was a mid-shot, would come to a closer shot. And every time the trolley moved, I saw this girl being kissed. It was Suchitra Krishnamurthy with Deepak Tijori. And whenever he would kiss her, or I would imagine he's kissing her behind the camera, I would run away. And the camera would come close and I've gone. And the director, he's a physical kind of director. He beats up his actors and all. And he's like, "Tu kya kar raha hai, yaar? What the hell are you doing? Tu kahan chala jata hai? Where do you go?" So I'm like, I can't stand here. I can't see this happening. And finally in that scene, I've run away. And I just could not give the shot standing there. And I think it was meant to be like that by the angels. I don't know, I just can't do it. I mean, there's certain things I just can't do. I can't make love to a heroine on screen. Off screen, yes, but... No, I'm just joking, but there are certain moments in films where I just sort of don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'll tell you another moment where, in the same film, and I guess it used to happen more when I was younger. But I've lost, there's a scene that the ring that the boy and girl are getting married with gets lost, and this boy, I find it. So it's this supreme sacrifice that I pick up the ring and, you know, tears in the eyes but smile on my lips. I walk up and I give it to the boy and say, yeah, be happy. And the scene was, everyone asked, did you find the ring? Has anyone found the ring? And I'm supposed to get up and say, yes, I found it. And I would get up and say, no. And I mean, it's not surprising that directors never worked with me again. But I just said, you know, if maybe this one last bit may still get the girl to marry me, you know. And
so you were so into your character of wanting that girl.
No, I didn't want to say no. I really wanted to get up and show the ring and pack up and go back home.
Wow.
But I kept saying no, and the director would say, okay, we'll keep it like this. So there have been moments like this in films. I mean, there's a scene in Karan's film, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where there was this long dialogue, and I just come and take the girl's hand and just hold her and do something silly, and we just cried. Actually, I touch her like this, and, and I go, and they just said, it's okay. You don't have to say any lines.
Do you need me to let go now?
No, I'll take it.
Yeah, I remember that scene. Yeah,
and things like that happen, and I don't know. I mean, I think it is a little beyond just improvisation.
In fact, I've talked to Karan about this one. There's a scene in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, which, of course, everyone who knows the film will be very familiar with, where finally, at the end, when you and Kajal are reunited at the camp, and she is now gone from being the tomboy with the wig, she's now a beautiful girl with the sari, long hair, and your daughter's gone there, and after all these years, you know, and Karan has beautifully kept us waiting and waiting and waiting for this reunion. And finally, you two see each other after all this pain and all these years. And and it's one shot. There's no cuts. The camera doesn't move, and you two come together, and electricity happens. And you know the scene I'm talking about, yeah. And and it's a long shot, and it's this. Is this the scene you're talking about?
Yeah, it was one of the scenes.
Yeah, where you go to hold hands.
Yeah.
You don't know whether to shake. You don't know whether,
wrong, yeah,
and everything goes wrong.
Completely wrong. Yeah.
But brilliantly wrong and worse. And I've said to Karan before, that's such a masterful scene. It's just beautifully played. The camera work is brilliant. The actors are brilliant. The whole thing works beautifully. And he said, "Oh God, you should have seen the other take. It was rubbish." And he said that this was like not supposed to be the proper take. I think it was the rehearsal or something.
So when we thought of the idea and tried to do it, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen, exactly. But he says, and it was very funny because he said that when you were rehearsing and the magic was happening, he realized, the cameraman who'd been fiddling around suddenly realized that this shot might be used in the film, and suddenly started sort of framing properly and stuff. But you don't notice any of that when you're watching the film. So that's the magic. But then that's the magic of cinema, right?
I guess so. A lot of things happen. Whenever I'm in kind of company where people want to give importance to your work as an actor or as a person in films, I just like to tell everyone, a lot of things just happen, and the credit is wrongly placed, and it's not, again, being modest, and you get paid one hell of a lot of money for doing this, and you're very happy. But genuinely, if I was to ask, if I was asked how this happens, I would not be able to redo it, recreate it, and I think that's what makes it sort of special. And even I don't know how I've done it. I've not watched my films very often. I've seen them once in a technical trial most of the time. Some of them I haven't seen. And I really want to keep it for my old age and sort of see it. A little narcissistic, but I'd like to I'd like to just watch them and see how I got it right, and hope I can tell people how to do it right. But at this point of time, I don't know really. I'm the worst person to have a master class with.
When you're acting, when you're there, when you're in front of the camera and you're about to do a take, do you ever think of the audience that's going to watch this? What is your vision of the audience when you're in front of the camera?
I don't have to think of the audience. I just feel, I sort of sense, because I worked with an actress called Shri Devi, one of this really excellent actress, and when I was working with her, I've just done 4 days of work with her in a film. And I somehow felt while she's acting, she can look at herself from the outside, which is an amazing quality, and I can't describe it. I've not been able to do it. But there are times when I'm doing a scene, and I do some strange things in a scene, and I know if I was watching it, I would like it. Like there's a scene in Kal Ho Na Ho where the guy is dying, and it's a comic scene normally. Guys just die, and they kick the bucket, and it's in a movie called It's a Mad World, where this guy keeps dying and everyone keeps taking off the cap, then they realize he's not dead, and they keep wearing the hat back. And it was very funny. And we're doing a serious scene where a guy is going to die and everybody's crying, and then I just die. And then everybody goes, and I get up in a serious scene and I say, "Not yet, idiot." I know everybody's going to feel sad, and a lot of directors would not allow that kind of liberty. But I just sense it. I like it. A guy to go away giving me a little smile, because I think I'm already crying. I think I can sense a part of it as a watcher, not fully. I'm not completely aware. I can't say that. But what is sometimes termed as playing to the galleries, I think is a good quality. Personally, as an actor, I think it's all right. It is for the galleries. It is for the people who've come to watch. It is not for yourself. And I don't mind doing it. I'm quite happy doing it, even if it is a bit out of character, even if it is a lot out of character. And I just go ahead and do it, because if it makes you smile or cry, I'm okay with it.
I was once in San Francisco, and a few years back now, about 5 years ago, and I was promoting a movie, and it happened to coincide with the San Francisco Lesbian and Gay Film Festival, and I noticed.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I noticed in the program at the fabulous Castro Theatre, they have a very beautiful old music hall style theatre there called in the Castro, which is the gay area. They were screening Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
And your pointers.
And I was amazed at the reach of Hindi cinema. and I wanted to go along. Paul and I went along, and it was the most wonderful screening of.
Yeah, like you said, it's the body of work works for both sexes.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. And your audience, you can't control your audience in a movie, you know, and you're appreciated in so many different ways. And I think what you know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of shots of Shah Rukh in lots of tight lycra, lots of slow-mo stuff, you know, in that movie, which is obvious. But then also it's a family saga. It's about, you know, unrequited love. It's about two people who really want to be together, who can't be together. It's about family drama. It's, you know, and so it was programmed in this film festival, and it was absolutely packed. The theatre was absolutely packed, and people just were. I think that, you know, I think that's one of the most important things about Hindi cinema, you know, is that it has reached places where a lot of people don't even know it's reached, you know, like our German friends, you know, who are here today. And I think that that one of the things that excites me now is the way that it, you know, why we're here today, you know, at BAFTA, is that it really is, I mean, it's always been international, but all of a sudden now it is opening up to a massive audience around the world. Do you think that films will start getting, you know, the formulas, if you like, will start getting changed now to pander to some of these different audiences?
No, I don't think so. I think lycra will remain. But I personally believe, see, what connects any story, and that any actor, director, producer, and everyone will tell you is, we all feel similar. I mean, if there is unfortunate loss of a loved one, we will all cry. If you see a girl for the first time and you fall in love with her, you will feel a different feeling which we call love. And all of us, in whatever language, in whatever country, in whatever sphere, you know, that's how we are. And sometimes films go beyond the language, and some of our films are beginning to do that. And thanks to a lot of people who know the language. They've brought it to the fore, and they've introduced it to their friends who don't understand the language, and they've seen it and they say, oh, this is okay, I understand this. This seems all right. There's no problem with this. It's a love story, and I cried. I didn't understand a word. I have some friends who just said, we don't understand a word, but we cried. I told them it was a comedy, but that was that's a different story. But I just think the stories are the same.
Yes.
They won't change.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's between an ape and a girl, King Kong, whether it's between me and Kajol, you know, whether it's between any actor that you take in the world, or Indian, Chinese, French, Korean, Hollywood, it sort of, some films just make sense and touch you, and some films just don't.
But the point now is that there is a platform for these films. The biggest industry in the world now is such, you know, it's featuring regularly in our UK box office, in the charts here, and these foreign.
So there are two ways to look at it. One is, when I say I mean Indian films, have they reached a stage of just on the threshold, or maybe have a small window to get into international? I think it's a small window, and it's really nice that, you know, BAFTA has called us, and everything is feels very, very good. And I hope in my time I see an Indian film being acclaimed internationally and universally accepted. But it's a small window. It's for directors to build on. But you have to think, have I reached this small window because of the USP of my films? Because they are like this? Or, now that I have reached this stage, I should suddenly turn around my USP and start making them like how the Western films are made. And then, oh gosh, maybe I realize I'm thrown out again. You know, so it's a strange situation to be in. But if I was to be taken seriously, and I have been working for a long time, I think the USP of our films, which is high drama, the color, the emotions, the rawness, the reality. A lot of people call our film escapist films, and I don't agree with that at all. I think ours are the most real films in the world, because our aspirations are very small. Our dreams are attainable. Like I've been telling everyone that if England won the World Cup, you'd be dancing on the streets. And that is possible.
Absolutely.
That can happen, yes. That you dance on the streets, which happens in a film every time. Which is okay. But I think it is a little more far-fetched for the President of the United States to sit in a rocket and destroy a meteor and save the world. It is a little more, perhaps unreal, to believe that somebody will come out of somebody's stomach who's come out of somebody else's stomach. So I think, and our aspirations are simple. I just want to love the girl, go to Switzerland, dance with her.
And wear lycra.
No, honest to God, I mean, I think we are still in touch with reality. We think small. I just want to get married at the time I want to, instead of waiting that I don't have a job. You know, and that's my story. Our fantasies are not spatial yet. Our fantasies are still earthy. And I think that is the USP of Indian films. That should be retained. But yes, I understand that people like to go, after 1.5 hours, they want to go home or to the bathrooms. So you need to end the film there. I understand people are not used to watching 3-hour-long films. Maybe if we have screenwriters from here, from the Western world, who can tell Yash Chopra, Karan Johar, Adi, Suraj, your stories in 2 hours without taking away any essence from it, that can happen. So that change should be there, I think. A lot of directors don't agree with me. They still want the films to be 3 hours and more. But that physical change can happen. But the essence, I think, is what has brought us on the threshold of this window, and we should stick there.
Yes, I agree, because one of the things that worried me slightly was a while back when Mr. Subhash Ghai, a very popular director of Hindi cinema, made a comment once that now that the NRI market was growing for Hindi cinema, that he cared more for his NRI audience than for his domestic Indian audience, because the dollar and the pound, you know, was worth more than the local rupee to him. And I mean, I thought that was a very sad statement.
I just think every Indian filmmaker just actually cares for the audience. We want every scene to please you. And it's not. I mean, whether you call it NRI or you call it Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi or Nepalese. See, when we say that audience, what we call NRI are people who understand the language, Urdu or Hindi. See, it's really not specific to the people here in England. But we are all basically Pakistanis or Indians or Sri Lankans, which is the same. I mean, there is no difference in that. And see, every filmmaker, including yourself, who's made international name for herself and with wonderful films, and every filmmaker, actor, actress, producer, cameraman, they want to be known by as many people as they want the work to be seen by as many people as possible. I think Mr. Ghai said that under the influence of alcohol. And I'll talk to him about it. I think he was... I'll have a chat with him about this. I think he didn't mean... I don't think he meant it that way. Right. He just meant that certain aspects of his filmmaking are thinking about an audience and the relevance to his box office because of that audience and trying to keep those elements in. Have I made it clear enough?
Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Shah Rukh Khan.